Welcome to the Michael Saunders & Company dotloop agents training video for buying agents, offers, and contracts. We'll cover how to put together an offer, share it with the other agent, and submit for review the signed contract to the office. This tutorial will go over entering your buyer's information, creating a new loop, sharing it with the listing agent, and submitting the fully executed paperwork to the office. You can get to dotloop by logging into intranet.michaelsaunders.com, scrolling down to Agent Tools, and clicking on the dotloop link. The first thing we want to do is add the buyers to your People section. From the menu at the top, click on People and Add Person. Select their role as a buyer and Add Person. Ensure that the information is correct and click on Save. Go back to People and add any remaining other people. With our buyers added to the account, we are now ready to put in offers. Please note that every offer must be its own loop, and a good rule of thumb is that every loop must be a property address. This is to ensure that we have a record of every offer that is put in for up to 5 years. Go to Add Loop. Here we can put in the property address or the MLS number. And although it says to put in your client's name for now, we want to discourage this because we do not want multiple offers under one loop. So again, every loop must be a property address. In this particular scenario, we are an MSC agent putting an offer into a listing that belongs to another MSC agent. We also see that she has a loop in dotloop for her listing. And if we select it, it will import most of her information. Select the contract package. Add a photo if you have one. And go to View Loop. We can see that it's pulled in the property title that the listing agent has for this loop. We see the contract documents folder, the accounting closing documents folder that is for the office use only, our local service providers, MSC Mortgage, Home Warranty, and our title reps. If we click on the title rep, we see the title rep that is representing this particular office. But if you have a different MSC title rep that you want to use, you may enter them manually under the People section. And then under the People section, there is the Task section where you can create a list of tasks for you to do, assign dates, and assign people. Now let's add our buyers. Go to Add Person and start typing in their name. Since we've already added them to our People's Contacts section, they will automatically populate with the right role and their address. Click on Add Person. Click on Add Person and add any remaining people. And again, it brings in their role and their address. We'll list ourselves as the buying agent. And then let's go into the View Details section to put in the rest of the information that might be missing. We can get the legal description and subdivision name from the county tax records. Type in the property address. Find the property and hit search. Highlight, right-click, and copy. Go back to your dotloop account and hit paste. And click on Save. Go back to the loop. Next, let's work on our contract documents. The first thing we want to do is go to Stellar MLS and pull any documents that are attached to the listing. From Stellar MLS, search for the property either by MLS number or property address. At the top, there is a paperclip to go to attachments, and we want to download any documents that they have here. Now let's add the documents that we just downloaded from the MLS. Go to Add Document, Browse, find our documents. And the next thing we want to do is break out any forms that have multiple documents in it. Here we have the seller's property disclosure, the mold addendum, the condo rider, inventory, the COVID in-person, cyberwire, and the frequently asked questions. So let's go to File, Split Document. There's 7 documents. And split. Let's go back to our loop, and we need to drag and drop these to their pre-designated slots below. Click, hold, and drag the first document. And what we're doing is we're taking the SPD form and we're going to hover over where it says Seller's Property Disclosure Statement. And we're looking for the Replace with SPD verbiage to pop up. And I'll show you again. If we go over Seller's Property Disclosure Statement, we see the Replace with SPD, and we want to drop it. It now is renamed to Seller's Property Disclosure Statement, and it shows the document that has been signed by the sellers. We want to do that with the rest of the documents. So take the mold addendum, scroll down, and then when we get to the mold addendum to disclosure, we see it says replace with mold, and that is what we want to do. Drop it, and it will tell you when you're replacing a document with a different document that you're about to do that. It renames the mold form to mold addendum to disclosure and puts in the signed document. There is no FAQ in this particular list of contract documents, so we can just move that to the bottom. And any miscellaneous documents that are not part of the documents folder, move to the bottom. So that way the coordinators do not have to filter through all the miscellaneous forms that do not pertain to them processing this transaction. The next step is to pull in the contract that we need for this particular loop. Again, this is a gray unclickable placeholder. We need to choose what contract we want for this loop. Go to Add File, from Templates, click on the Michael Saunders and Company Master Documents folder, and then pull in whether or not you want the standard contract or the as is. And now we see that it is bold and clickable, and it will bring in the form that we've selected. The next thing is to prepare the document for our buyers to sign. So select the documents we need for them to look at, and then click Open. If the autofill does not pop up, you can click on Autofill from the top menu bar. Here we can see that our buyers are entered in, as well as the buying agent and listing agent. The sellers are not here, and I actually do not recommend putting them in here at the moment, because when we share this with our listing agent, it will duplicate the seller's names on her loop. So at this time, do not add the sellers, but you can type in their name on the form. Again, do not add them because this will add them to your loop, but you can manually type their name in on the contract form, and that will prevent a duplicate contact coming in to the listing agent's own loop. Make sure all the information is filled out, and we can get the seller's information from the forms or from the tax records. Scroll down and make sure all the information is entered in. And if there is something that needs to be striked through, go to add strike through. However, because this is an interactive form, we cannot add text boxes. However, my recommendation would be to add any additional verbiage in the additional terms that are on the last page. Scroll down and make sure everything is filled in. Check off the boxes that you need to check off. Add the additional addendums that you might have. And here in the additional terms, we can add the updated verbiage. Click on a line and then click edit text because this is multiple lines. On non-interactive forms, we will want to add the buyer's initials and signatures. So go to add initials and assign them to your buyer. Also on non-interactive forms, we do have the ability to add text boxes if needed. Since I know that the seller's property disclosure is going to need multiple buyers' initials, I can select both initials, copy it, and then paste them onto the next page. Click on the first initial box, hit Shift, click on the second box. Then hit Control Shift C to copy them. And then on the next page, Control Shift V to paste them in. And this will auto assign them. I would not worry about the date field as the initial boxes are date stamped as well as the signature boxes. Scroll down to the next page and Control Shift V. If you're on a Mac, it will have different shortcuts for you. And you can see that in the lower right corner of your monitor. Add signatures where needed. And again, in non-interactive forms, you can add a text box. On some of the far bar forms, the seller initials and the buyer's initials are on the opposite sides of the document. I don't know why they did this. Maybe they're just making sure that we are paying attention to all these legal documents that we're signing. In this particular case, it looks like the sellers signed where the buyers should have been. So what we want to do is add our initials under buyer and then ask our listing agent to get the sellers to sign in the correct place. And non-interactive forms, we can type in add a text box, and type in. And then we can hit save and share. Our buyers are selected, and we only want to ever give them can sign options. If we go back to our loop, we can see that we're waiting on Sweet and Awesome to sign our documents. And now let's see what it looks like for them. Our awesome buyer will get an email address that I have shared 9 documents with them, and to view all documents. They'll just click on view all and then start signing. It'll take them to the first initial box, and here they can confirm their name and initials or draw their signature and initial out if they wish. And hit finish. And X out of any pop-ups. As the Sweet buyer, I will get a similar email as Awesome buyer did, and we can view all documents. Go to Start Signing, confirm our name, and go through all the documents. Hit Finish Signing, X out of any pop-ups, and if we go back to our loop, we can see the documents that have been shared with us. We can select them, open them, print them, download them, or share them with, say, an attorney. As the buyer, I will get an email notification on all the documents that I've signed. And yes, it is 1 email for every document, but we hope that in the future it'll be a summary email instead. As the buying agent, I will get a notification for every document my buyers sign. When we go back to our loop, we see that the documents have been signed by both parties, and we're ready to share these with the listing agent. Select the documents that you want to share. And hit share. We want to select the listing agent and give them can edit and private option and hit done. If we need to communicate with the listing agent regarding the signatures, we can go to the document, and to the right there is a icon that looks like a little note or chat bubble. And we can go to Barb and we can say, and send. As the buying agent, we see that the listing agent has sent me a note regarding the initials for the sellers, and we also see that she has shared documents back with me. If we go back to our loop as the buying agent, we see that we have 2 notes from the listing agent, and we also see that she has shared a new document with us with a counter of price, and that she has assigned initials for our buyers. So here we can hit share, and it will go directly to our buyers to sign. Sweet buyer has gotten an email that I have shared this updated document with them. And they can see that there is a strike through of the original price and the new suggested price. If they agree, they can adopt and sign and finish, X out of any pop-ups. As awesome buyer, I also see that I have a new document to sign. I can start signing and finish, exit out of any pop-ups. As the buying agent, I see that it has been signed by my buyers, and now we're just waiting on the sellers to initial. For training purposes, we'll say that this is the fully executed contract signed by all parties. We can drag and drop it over to the first one that we created and click yes. We'll fill out the contract to close information. Make sure that all the information is entered. Enter in the seller's information, the buyer's information, and then save. Go to your contract checklist and then check off everything that we have collected. And save. With everything filled out, completed, and signed, we can hit Submit for review, select the Contract Documents folder, and hit Submit. Everything that was not submitted is now submitted, and we're waiting on our admins to review. As the buying agent, I see that I've got notes from my office coordinator that I'm missing information on the contract to close and that I'm missing seller's initials. I also see that my coordinator has updated the review stage for the contract documents folder from contract ready for closing coordinator to returned to agent. So I can go and view loop to see what is going on. From my loop dashboard, I'll go into my loop. I can see the notes that have been added by my coordinator. I'm missing information on the contract to close, and I'm missing initials on the fully executed contract. We also see that these two documents have been returned. At this point, we can send a note back to our listing agent and have them update the contract with the initials. And then we can also update the contract to close with the missing information as well. And save. With everything filled out, we see that it's gone back to not submitted. So let's go ahead and hit the Submit for Review button, the contract documents, and hit Submit. It changed the not submitted to submitted, and then we wait for our office to approve the contract. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or concerns, please email tsr@michaelsaunders.com. Also, watch these other videos to become a dot loop expert.